Get ready for the wild card weekend. That's right. The NFL playoffs are finally here for 2020, even though it is officially 2021. We're going to get to the 2020 version of the playoffs, and the Rams are facing the Seahawks for the third time this year. What's going to go down? They split the two regular season matchups. So, what's going to happen in the playoffs? Chris, how do you see this game going? Because there's also some injuries we should talk about. The Rams are just not going to be themselves, just like they weren't in week 17.
I feel like neither of these teams are really themselves right now, right? I mean, certainly the Rams, they've got injuries. There's a lot of talk right now that Jared Goff will not be ready to play. That means we'll be looking at another week of John Wolford at quarterback. But even if you look at the Seahawks, even though they're not banged up on offense, this offense is not the offense we saw in the first half of the season. They are sputtering down the stretch. So to me, this game is going to be an ugly, boring punt fest game, and it's probably really going to come down to one team making a major mistake, like maybe a pick six or a turnover deep in their end. This is just a game that on paper looks like a terrible game as far as entertainment value.
I couldn't agree more. This is definitely not going to be a high scoring affair. In fact, I would definitely take the under here right now, set at 43. The over under, yeah, I'm easily taking the under on that. And the Seahawks at home, usually that's a huge advantage with the 12th man there. And of course, there is no 12th man. It's just an empty stadium. But still, there might be something to that. At least Seattle is in their home digs, and this is an experienced team for sure. So they do have the edge there, at least being at home. Now, I can't really say I have any interest in terms of fantasy. We play some of these playoff challenges. We're fantasy football junkies. So just because the regular season is over, we still find these leagues. And a lot of times there's these leagues where you have to pick a player from each team, or you can only pick one. And if I had to pick a player from either of these teams, I'm picking the kickers and I'm picking the defense. I don't think there's any player that's really going to go off this week. But there are some players that we still want to watch. So who are you keeping an eye on in this game?
Yeah, I agree with you about there's no players I'm excited about as far as scoring tons of fantasy points, but I'm always interested in watching DK Metcalf versus Jalen Ramsey. Now, in week one, the first time they played, I should say, Jalen Ramsey absolutely won that matchup. He shut DK Metcalf down, no doubt about it. Now, in this last game they played, I watched a lot of that game, and Jalen Ramsey did not shadow DK Metcalf. He was not on Metcalf, every snap. He played a lot of snaps on the other side of the ball. So it'll be interesting to see what the Rams game plan is in, this week. Do they shadow DK Metcalf with Jalen Ramsey? And if so, who gets the better of it? Because in a game where I don't expect either team to do much, the most exciting thing might be a matchup between a wide receiver and a cornerback.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, especially because in this last game, Tyler Lockett all of a sudden reemerged. He had a huge game. You got to wonder if he's going to be more productive than Metcalf just because the better matchup on the other side. But yeah, I love me some DK Metcalf. He's definitely one of my favorite players to watch. One of the best fantasy receivers in the game. It'll be interesting to see what he does under this pressure. Now, I'm actually looking to the running game for Seattle. Again, there's not a lot to watch for the Rams offensively because, well, like I said, Goff is out. Cooper Kupp has been out because of the COVID list. Who knows if he's even going to be back? And Cam Akers did play last week, but he didn't do very much, and I don't even know if he's 100%. So in Seattle, I'm actually going to look at the running game because Chris Carson is the lead back, but how is he going to be utilized? And I asked that because, we're always looking forward, always thinking about the fantasy angle here. This game is not going to be super exciting as it is from a pure football perspective. Not going to be a lot of points, but a lot of people might not realize Chris Carson is going to be a free agent. He might not be in Seattle next year, which seems weird, but it's true. He wants to get paid. I'm not sure he will, but they got Rashad Penny now back and healthy. They've shown that they can thrive without him for a few weeks. So I'm curious to see how he's used, if he still functions in the lead back, if he does something to kind of show and prove that they deserve to pay him, which I'm not sure if they will, but I'm curious to see how Carson functions because I really think his value could be very different next year.
That's a great point. And even down the stretch, we didn't see them necessarily committing to Chris Carson as the guy. Even last week with Carlos Hideout, Alex Collins was getting run in that game. So it will be interesting to see how they use him, not only this week, but potentially going forward and what they do with him in the offseason. So definitely think that's a great guy to watch this week.
All right, so let's get to our predictions. But before we do that, if you appreciate what we're talking about and you enjoy our videos, hit that subscribe button. It just takes a second. And of course, click the notification bell so you can catch all the latest. All right, let's now reveal our picks. So Seattle against LA. Who you got?
I mean, I got to go with the Seahawks. If Jared Goff was playing, maybe I could pick the Rams. But with Jared Goff not playing probably, or even playing at much less than 100%, I just can't pick the Rams. And I know, like you said, the 12th man isn't going to be there like it would normally be. It doesn't matter. The Seahawks play better at home. Russell Wilson plays better at home. And in a matchup that's probably going to be Wilson versus Wolford, I got to go with Wilson.
Yeah, there's no way you can pick the Rams. And you know what? I'll just say, even if Goff was playing in Cup, and if they were 100% personnel-wise, I would still pick Seattle. This Rams team has shown, I hate to say it, but they kind of been folding in big games. And I don't just mean Super Bowl a couple years ago, but this season, there's just some games where they just look ugly at times, a little discombobulated. I think Pete Carroll can draw up a game plan to beat them for sure. So I'm definitely picking Seattle. All right, well, that does it for this matchup. Catch all of our other videos talking about the playoff matchups right here in this channel, Fantasy Football Endgame. We appreciate the views. Thank you.